and welcome to this edition of National Sports Magazine. I'm Rajaraman, your host over the next half hour when we surf the world of sport. We shall spend time reviewing sporting action in cricket, shooting, badminton, hockey, chess, tennis, wrestling and football. We start with cricket. The focus has been on the ICC T20 World Cup 2022 in Australia. It has been an intensely fought tournament thus far, despite rain affecting some of the matches in the Super 12 stage. With 4 league games still to be played, the semi-final lineup has not yet been identified, and that is a fair indication of the quality of contests. Virat Kohli has hit 3 half-centuries to lead the Indian batting lineup, while England's Sam Curran shares the bowling honours with young Indian left-arm paceman Arshdeep Singh. I'm joined in the studio by Venkat Sundaram, former Delhi batsman and seasoned cricket analyst, to try and capture some vignettes from the ICC 2020 World Cup in Australia. What are your first impressions when we talk of the World Cup? What is the first thing that comes to your mind?
Well, I think that the quality of cricket we've seen has been very high. This is early season in Australia, so there's been a lot of grass on the wickets and there has been a lot of movement, and the fast bowlers have ruled the roost. I think roughly 60% of the wickets that have fallen in this tournament have gone to the fast bowlers. That said, the batsmen have also been challenged. It has not been one-way traffic as we normally see in T20 cricket. That has stood out, and it has made for a more even contest between bat and ball. And even the newer teams, Zimbabwe, Ireland and Afghanistan, they've had their moments and they've caught the eye. So there's a lot of talent in those teams, and with more exposure, I feel those teams will also come up in the years to come.
With still some league games to go before the semi-final and the final, what are the teams that have caught your attention, Venkat?
Well, I think there are 2 teams besides India who have caught my attention. One is England, because they're underrated, if you ask me, in this tournament. But they're a very good team. And, they scored 180 against New Zealand. New Zealand had a tremendous start. They beat Australia in the first game in an outstanding match. And we were wondering which team can better them. But if you look at this tournament, the way it's panned out, New Zealand has really come out very well. The other team that has done very well is South Africa. Because, these conditions are very similar to those that you find in South Africa. And as a team, they have done well. Some batsmen has scored runs. Their fast bowlers have clicked. Their fielding has always been outstanding. India has also done well because these conditions are very foreign to our players. And a player like Kohli, who's played 4 innings and has got out only once and remained not out, Surya Kumar has done very well. And if you look at the top 4, Rahul has also got a 50 now, and also Rohit has got 150. There has to be a little more consistency at the top. And as the tournament goes into the, towards the semi-finals, I think the team will improve further. But that remains to be seen.
Outstanding is a word that you've used a lot. Do you reckon Virat Kohli's knock against Pakistan was truly outstanding, or was there something else that bettered Virat Kohli's knock?
He was miles ahead of any competition. That innings was something sublime. There's nothing close to it so far. Of course, there have been good innings, and somebody scored a good 50, somebody scored a good 30. In T20, you don't need to score 100 or a good 30 or 40 in a crucial time is very important. But Virat on that day was at a different level, and that quality of opposition, the conditions under which he was playing, he was in a different zone altogether. And you don't see innings like that. A person of Greg Chappell's caliber has said that he has made T20 honourable. So that says it all.
There was another cricketer, and we talked about the West Indies. He's someone who has the flair of the West Indians. I'm talking about Hardik Pandya here. He's had a good tournament, a couple of times with the bat. Very crucial knock against Pakistan where he made 40 and had a partnership with Virat Kohli. But he has contributed significantly with the ball, consistently pitching the ball short and surprising the batsman with his bounce. What do you make of Hardik Pandya's comeback to the Indian side and as an all-rounder?
I think he's a talented player. He always had talent in him. Somehow he has not, performed to his capabilities. That is my feeling. Even now I feel, occasion makes a man, man makes an occasion. A World Cup is a big stage. The whole world of cricket is watching you. And here's the ideal platform for a player like him. He bats in a carefree manner, irrespective of whether he's playing a test match or T20 or whatever. When you watch him play, he plays his way. Irrespective of what he's playing, he plays his way, and it is quite unique. He can hit 3 sixes in an over of any bowler. And his bowling is unpredictable. He's got a lot of variations. By captaining Gujarat Lions in the IPL, he improved a lot as a cricketer and as all-rounder. He delivered vital knocks, and I think that has given him the confidence. And I think now, when this tournament is heading towards a more interesting phase, I think this is the time for him to shine and really prove his worth.
One other Indian cricketer I will speak to you before we move to a couple of others. Arshdeep Singh. He has been brilliant, hasn't he?
Absolutely. And you know something? He's not trying too much. He's just bowling to his strength. He's moving the ball either way. He's using the bouncer. He's using the Yorker. He's using a slow one. See the variations. He's moving the ball both ways. That is creating a lot of problems, especially on these tracks which are receptive to swing bowling. And in these conditions which are, cloudy and sometimes drizzling, sometimes wet outfield, he's really enjoying himself. And it's good to see a young cricketer like him enjoy the big stage and perform. Absolutely amazing talent. And I think, again, IPL has produced an Arshdeep Singh for India.
And as we move closer to the business end of the tournament, Venkat, can you name 3 batsmen who have excelled according to you?
New Zealanders have really impressed with their batting. Glenn Mitchell has got 200s and a 50. Then I think Butler is a very dangerous player. He got 80 vital runs in the last match against New Zealand. So there are people who are performing. And now how consistent you are and how you play yourself and how you handle the match situation, because that can vary. You might lose early wickets or you might come in a good score and you might cap. So that remains to be seen. But there's a lot of talent on show. The Australians have been below par, if you ask me, overall so far. They have won some matches that might have done their con, but the way they were outplayed by New Zealand in the first match, that has damaged their usual arrogance, and the way they play the game has been completely shattered. So I think they will be under pressure in the matches. And you must not forget that home teams have generally not performed very well in a World Cup. So the expectations are very high. Let's see how this tournament pans out.
And 3 bowlers who have stood out for you?
Well, certainly the pacers from Pakistan have done well. Their batting has not shown brilliantly, but their fast bowlers are really outstanding. I think the Mark Wood, England, and I think the South Africans have a very potent attack for these conditions. These have been the outstanding bowlers, but Indians have, with their skill, ability to swing the ball, have also made a dent.
Venkat, you spoke about this being early season, there being green grass and the freshness of the pitch and all. There's been a lot of rain interruption. A couple of matches have been washed out. Afghanistan, unfortunately, has missed out on a couple of big games for them. What do you make of the scheduling of the tournament? Do you think it was right for us to have the tournament in October, or should Australia have waited and had the tournament sometime in November or December, which is the ideal cricket season?
It should be probably ideally slotted towards the end of November or say December. But don't forget that we had COVID. And this tournament actually to be held last year. It's been postponed by a year. And the calendar these days is pretty full. You've got so many tournaments, bilateral, international, that there's hardly any time. In fact, this is the second World Cup we're seeing within a year almost. So you cannot look for ideal conditions to play a tournament. You have to go with what you get.
So there are a couple of captains on whom questions have been raised. Kane Williamson is one of them, New Zealand captain. Exceedingly brilliant captain, but hasn't scored runs. When he scores 40 or 40 and his team loses, questions will be asked. Tembe Bavuma, another one from South Africa, whose captain has not scored runs. Babar Azam is a third one. But which of the captains has impressed you so far?
Performance is one thing, captaincy is another thing. I think it is important to keep a balance. Rohit Sharma also hasn't done brilliantly. He's also under pressure. So the captains are under pressure in a tournament of this type, because the format is such that you don't have time to think too much. You have to just play by instinct virtually. And either it comes off or it doesn't come off. But I think here the strategies are going to be important. For example, going forward as they get a little warmer, are you going to start with a spinner, for example, in the first 6 overs? Are you going to keep who's going to be your main bowler in the last 4 overs? So these are the things that will define whether you win or you lose. That is when your captaincy will be tested. Here I think everyone is playing sort of a wait and see game so far. Nobody's taking a challenge. How do you upset a top team if you're not that good on paper? How do you upset a team which is in form like New Zealand? This is what will define who's the most brilliant captain, and it will be known very shortly. As we know, they are almost at the semi-final stage, so we've got about half a dozen games to go. That is when the grain will be shifted from the shaft.
Typical of a opening batsman who's wait and watch. Venkat prefers not to name a captain who has impressed him so far, but I completely understand that. The game is still open, the tournament is still wide open. We haven't still spotted the semi-finalists yet. It's going to be a very interesting tournament. Thank you very much, Venkat, for your time and for the conversation.
Thank you so much.
Let's now join my colleague S. Kannan as he brings in some entertainment on hockey.
The Indian junior men's hockey team, under 21, showed grit and captured glory to win the 10th edition of the Sultan of Johor World Cup. India and strong Australia were involved in engrossing final and tied 1-1 at the end of regulation period. The best part was the penalty shootout, where India shone like a beacon. The final scoreline was 5-4 in favor of India. This was the third Sultan of Johor title for India, which shows the next line of players being prepared are working in right earnest. In the final, there was speed and tempo from both the sides. Mohit Shashikumar pulled off a very fine save early on. Australia controlled proceedings in the early exchanges while captain Uttam Singh and Bobby Singh Dhami tried to take India forward. The efforts paid as India broke the deadline through Sudeep Chirmako in the 14th minute. India went into the first break leading 1-0. Later, in the first quarter, the Australian defence was under siege. As the quarter progressed, Australia's hunt for the equaliser intensified. Even though India were absorbing the pressure well, Jack Holland scored. India and Australia went into the half-time break with the score reading 1-1. Both sides came back with a cautious approach, understandably, not to allow the opponent any space. Midway through the quarter, India almost edged ahead with Sudeep Chirmako, but neither side were able to outsmart each other. The quarter ended with the score tied at 1-1. In the final quarter, India and Australia turned on the heat. With 6 minutes to go, the score read 1-1. Both sides gave it their best shot but weren't able to find the winner in regulation period. In the penalty shootout, Australia had the first crack with Cooper Burns, but Mohit Shashikumar kept him out. India started off with Vishnukant Singh, who calmly lifted the ball over the goalkeeper and into the back of the net. Liam Hart was brought and he scored Australia's first goal in the shootout, after which Sudeep shot wide. The tiebreaker was locked 1-1 after first two shots. Mohit Shashikumar foiled Jayaden Atkinson's attempt before captain Uttam Singh won a penalty stroke. It was converted by Shardanand Triwari before giving India a 2-1 lead. Up next for Australia was Joshua Brooks and he made it 2-2, but Bobby Singh Dhami could not put India ahead. Australia won a penalty stroke off the next attempt as Brodie Foster was checked by the keeper and Joshua Brooks put away without much ado. Ankit Paul walked up to the spot next for India and he equalized to make it 3-3, taking the game into sudden death. In the sudden death, Vishnukant Singh stepped up for India but he missed, after which Liam Hart was denied a chance by the post. Uttam made it 4-3, leading with the next attempt before Cooper Burns equalized at 4-4. Bobby Singh Dhami cut a disappointed figure on missing his attempt before Brodie Foster put it wide. The teams tied 4-4. It was a dramatic finish. Sudeep Chirmako held his nerve and made it 5-4, after which Joshua Brooks missed. It meant India had won their third Sultan of Johor Cup title. In the FIH Pro League currently on in Bhubaneswar, India began well against Spain and won the first match. India lost the second match. The Pro League has come in for great importance and identification because the winner of this event will qualify directly for the 2024 Paris Olympics. In Jalandhar, the premier domestic tournament, Surjit Singh Hockey Tournament, has attracted the best teams from all over India. Matches are being played at the Bolton Park, where teams like Indian Oil and PNB have begun on a winning note.
My colleague S. Kannan also spoke with former India captain Jagbir Singh.
Hi Jagbir, hockey is back in the news and Indians are doing well. We just saw the Indian junior team under 21 with the Sultan of Johor World Cup. Thrilling final against Australia. So comments on this?
Well, let me congratulate the Indian juniors who have done extremely well at the Johor Cup, because beating Australia is always a great feeling. I really wish that the seniors learn from the juniors what they've done in the finals.
Mm-hmm. You're being very, very nice and chirpy, and that's nice to hear, Sometimes juniors can set an example for the seniors. This concept of under 21, how much of importance do you attach? Because every sport we've seen, in India, juniors do well, but when they graduate to the senior team. But as you say, beating Australia in any sport is a big thing. And how does it really take off from here?
See, at junior level, we've always been very consistent right from early years, I would say. And having two junior World Cups in our kitty is always a great feeling. The juniors, at all levels, I would say, juniors, be it invitational tournaments or the major tournaments, have been quite consistent compared to the other nations. But yes, that transition period from the juniors to seniors, that's the whole difference which we have to work on. We have to work it out and how we can take it forward. There was early years when the juniors team players used to continue playing for the national team for more than 8 to 10 years. And that's how the continuity. For example, the team like Belgium, if you see the recent performance, it's not because they've come overnight. It's just that because the junior players have been playing together for a couple of years, and then results have started coming for the seniors. So this is what the Indian team also has to do: keep the team together, keep the players together.
And looking at, now it's back to Pro League season also, and FIH is attaching huge importance to the Pro League. Matches are on between India and Spain. We won one match and lost one match. But the latest news is winner of the FIH Pro League gets a direct entry into the Paris Olympics, which is a first. There was a lot of pulls and pushes over the Pro League, some teams attaching importance, but now this is one leg is being held in India. So what are your thoughts on, the Pro League getting so much importance, because it's a concept based on a, league which is club type, but here it's national teams playing. So rather than just looking at a continental qualifier or going through the last minute stress of, having an Olympic qualifier. So Pro League does it, getting a qualifying slot. What is your take on it? You are an Olympian. You've been through several campaigns. What are your thoughts on it, please?
Well, I would welcome this move of FIH, that the Pro League champions are given direct ticket to the Olympic Games. But having said that, in any case, in any way, the top teams are playing in the Pro League, and one or the other way, they always qualify directly for the Olympic Games. But yes, as a reward, a welcome move.
As a reward, a welcome move. And what about your thoughts on Asian Games? Less than 10 months, of course, China is going through the COVID phase, but Hangzhou has promised that they'll host the Asian Games in 23 September. How do you think the Indian teams, I'm talking about both men and women, are going to shape up? Because we saw at the Commonwealth Games 2 medals coming from the two teams.
I really see not much of competition for India at the Asian level now. There is a huge difference between the Asian teams. Earlier years, I would say yes, the Koreans or Japanese or the Pakistani teams used to really put direct threat while playing against India. But if India loses Asian Games, or if India is not able to win gold medal at the Asian Games, then India is to be blamed for no other team, I would say, because they are the best at the moment in Asia.
We move to shooting, where teenage Rudraksh Patil emulated legendary Abhinav Bindra in becoming the men's 10-meter air rifle world champion. Let us hear Rudraksh Patil before we turn to S. Kannan for a review of the world championship.
I believe in my team. Again, we have a strong team, and if I believe that if I be present, I focus on my process and move on just as I have been till now. I think we can achieve what we have aimed for. Well, I think that the person who deserves the most will go to the Olympics. The person who works the hard is the one who deserves. So I think it's very important for me to learn from them. Most of my colleagues are very experienced from previous Olympics, from previous World Cups. I usually take a lot of tips from them. They help me a lot during the competition. And being youngest among them, it usually helps me improve myself, because they treat me as a small brother and they help me grow from most of this. Again, seeing them as a competitor, we are competitors, but we are only competitors on the field. Outside field, we are usually friends. We behave like a brother, brothers and sisters. Even our coaches maintain a good amount of environment which keeps us stable and has maintain a good environment which is required for a good performance.
In shooting, after a disastrous campaign in 2021 at the Tokyo Olympics, things are back on track with the marksmen bouncing back in rifle, pistol and shotgun. At the ISSF World Championship in Egypt last month, India won a record 38 medals. It placed them second behind strong China. The previous best for India was 27 medals at the World Championship held in Changwon, South Korea 4 years ago. The icing on the cake was India have also clinched 3 quota places for the Paris Olympics. The winners include Bhavanish Mendiratta in trap, Rudraksh Balasaheb Patel in 10 meter and Swapnil Kusale in 50 meter rifle 3 position. Recently, the NRAI, which controls the shooting sport, amended its selection policy for the Paris Olympics. After failures in 2 successive Olympics, the NRA has decided that the qualification process has to change so that the men, women, boys and girls in form are given the chance to represent India in Paris. The quota winners will not necessarily be representing India in Paris 2024. A final decision on team selection will be made after 4 trials which will be held in 2024. Average scores in 2022 and 23 will also count, with weightage being given to the quota winner who has achieved 3 slots for India till now. This is to ensure that when the shooters go for the 2024 Olympics, they are in peak shape and have performed consistently. India's final competitor at the Cairo World Championship, Omkar Singh, shot 578 to finish 13th in 25-meter center fire pistol. Former Olympic champion Christian Reitz of Germany shot gold with 588. The Olympic events, which saw many new faces and first-timers, saw Rhythm Sangwan finish 5th in 25-meter pistol event, while experienced Anjum Mudgil finished 6th in 3 position and Shiva Narwal was 8th in the 10-meter air pistol. Isha Singh, the emerging young shooter, was most successful with 3 gold and 1 silver medal, followed by Samir Gulia, who had 2 silver and 2 bronze. Rudraksh, Ramita and Samrat Rana also won 2 gold medals each, and Vijayveer Sidhu defended his 25-meter standard pistol title.
Let's now move on to World Cup football. A celebration of football will erupt around the world in a few days, and India, though not even within dreaming distance of playing the FIFA World Cup football finals, will not be left behind when it comes to raw passion. An elaborate and extended ritual is set to unfold across the country, an exalted video game almost for armchair and pubbing soccer enthusiasts with almost no remote control in sight. For a month from November 29 to December 18, India will be full of football supporters assuming ownership of teams not their own. Most of them will back the Brazilians, others will support England or Germany, and yet others will fancy Argentina or France. The FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022 will be played in 8 venues in Qatar from November 20 to December 18. It will be the 22nd edition of the competition and the first played in the Arab world. Cricket may well take the backseat, even though India will be touring New Zealand for some white ball cricket and Bangladesh for one-day internationals and test matches. Indeed, the World Cup 2022 promises to be one of the highest watched non-cricket television events, giving OTT platform some tense moments. So what is new, you may ask, especially if you have watched the phenomenon in the earlier years? Well, for one, the new audience size, a whopping 5 billion, a jump from 3.5 million in 2018. India will not be left behind. The FIFA World Cup 2018 in Russia drew broadcast audiences of nearly 300 million in India, and you can expect a sharp rise in the numbers. On the FIFA World Ranking chart, Brazil is on top and is followed by Belgium, Argentina, France, England, Spain, Italy and the Netherlands. Current European champions and 4-time World Cup winners Italy will not be among the participants. While its failure to qualify has caused the side some embarrassment, it is not the only big name missing from Qatar 2022. Colombia, Sweden, Chile, Nigeria and Russia are some other big teams who will miss the party in Qatar. Brazil obviously will start as the favourite in this year's tournament. The 5-time champion has a strong backbone to its team with the best goalkeeper from the world, Alisson Becker, Neymar and upcoming phenomenon Vinicius Jr. While it has won more World Cup titles than any other country, Brazil's reputation is still recovering from a brutal 1-7 loss to Germany in the 2014 semi-finals. Brazil is a favourite in Group G. However, Serbia and Switzerland could make runs, having had solid qualifying performances that landed them at the top of their qualifying groups. Argentina is also a favourite for several reasons. The connection between the team's midfield and strikers is in its prime right now, backed by its Cup of Champions defeat of Italy in June that ended in a 3-0 win for Lionel Messi and the Argentinians. That put the South American team on a 32-game unbeaten streak, which is just 5 games short of an all-time record. This would be Messi's first World Cup title, and it's likely his last appearance at a World Cup, as he has played for over half of his life now. His experience could be the catalyst in bringing home a win to Argentina, but the breakdown will likely come down on a defensive side, where if the team penetrates with pace, Argentina may struggle. France is right on the tail of Argentina. It went undefeated in the European qualifiers and won its group with ease. The team has a lot of young talent, but given the history of returning defending champions, it can't take anything for granted. Star forward Kylian Mbappe helped the team to victory in 2018 and since then has only become more dangerous, making him one of the most talented players in the tournament. Since its 2018 win, France has also won the 2020-2021 UEFA Nations League after beating Spain in the finals. Wales, Australia and Costa Rica filled the final 3 qualification places in June, completing the 32-team lineup. The draw for the World Cup took place in Doha on the 1st of April and the next World Cup will be jointly hosted by Canada, Mexico and the USA in 2026. Staying with football, Spain retained the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup India 2022, defeating Colombia 1-0 in the final at the D.Y. Patil Stadium in Navi Mumbai on October 30. Spain's winner came 8 minutes from time when Laia Mertrat's effort on the goal went in off a Colombian defender, Ana Guzman. The South Americans could take some consolation from the fact that this is the farthest that they have ever gone in the Under-17 World Finals, having previously failed to progress beyond the group phase. Nigeria, meanwhile, well and truly made its mark on the Women's World Cup Under-17 in India. For the first time in their history, the African team clinched a place on the podium with a thrilling win over Germany in a match for the 3rd place. It came on penalties after the two sides had played out a hugely entertaining 3-all draw in normal time. Let's join Kannan as he brings in some badminton news.
Hello listeners, I'm Tina Behl with a report on French Badminton Open scripted by S. Kannan. Indian badminton touched dizzy heights once again as the star combine of Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy and Chirag Shetty won the French Open Super 750 crown with a straight game demolition of Chinese Taipei's Lu Qingyao and Yang Pohan in Paris. The world number 8 pair who had finished runners-up in the 2019 edition roared on their formidable attack to outwit the 25th ranked Lu and Yang 21-13, 21-19 in the final clash which lasted 48 minutes. The dream run continues for the Indian pair after they won the Indian Open Super 500 title, Commonwealth Games gold, Thomas Cup crown and a big bronze medal at the World Championships in August. It is the pair's 3rd World Tour title following the 2019 Thailand Open Super 500 and India Open Super 500 this year. They are also the first Indian duo to win a Super 750 tournament. In a battle between two attacking teams, it was Satvik and Chirag who emerged victorious as they showed better tactical skills and hunger to reign supreme. The Indian pair came out firing to jump to a 5-0 quick lead. They kept moving ahead, not giving any chance to their opponent to make a comeback. Eventually, it was a great serve by Satvik that helped them to take a 6-point cushion at the mid-game break. The Indian duo continued to dominate the fast-paced rallies and earned 7 game-point opportunities after a series of flat exchanges. Chirag wrapped it up on the first chance. The Taipei pairing needed a good start in the second game and they looked competitive initially, but the Indian duo once again ensured a 6-point cushion at the interval. However, the Indians were guilty as Lu and Yang started taking control of the rallies, narrowing the lead down to 10-12. A service error from Lu Qingyao broke the run of points, but they soon drew parity at 14-14 when Chirag went long. A couple of mistakes from Chirag, including a service error, handed the Taipei combination the lead. The Indians, however, quickly clawed back at 19-19 after winning a lucky net cord and Yang sending one wide from the net. They moved to 1 match point with a towering smash from Satvik, who sealed it with another attacking return. The success of the Indian pair has now raised hopes for the 2 big events in 2023 and 2024, the Hangzhou Asian Games and the Paris Olympics. In a long time, this is the best Indian men's doubles combined to have emerged on the horizon.
Let's move to chess. Anna Muzychuk of Ukraine defeated India's Koneru Hampi to advance to the semi-finals of the FIDE Women's Candidates Pool A. After a draw in the first 2 games, Anna had a decisive advantage in the 3rd tiebreak, the first blitz game. She missed her opportunity and Koneru Hampi forced a draw by perpetual check. In the 4th game, the India number 1 and world number 3 made a simple one-move blunder which cost her the game. Anna will face Lei Tingjae of China in the semi-finals. The Chinese defeated Anna's younger sister Maria Muzichuk 2.5 to 1.5 in the other quarterfinals. Meanwhile, in New Delhi, Indian grandmasters R. Pragyananda and P.V. Nandita claimed the Open and Women's crowns in the Asian Continental Championship. Pragyananda finished the 9-round Swiss League with 7 points in the Open category, while the unbeaten Nandita earned 7.5 points to take home the top prize. Together with my colleague S. Kannan and producer Praveen, this is Rajaraman thanking you for listening in. Have a great sporting time ahead.